C. The functions of WTO, IMF, and the World Bank in global governance. 1. Introduction. Global economic governance. Global governance refers to the way international affairs are managed across national boundaries through cooperation and institutions. Three major international organizations, the World Trade Organization WTO, the International Monetary Fund IMF, and the World Bank play central roles in shaping economic globalization and providing frameworks for global economic cooperation. Each institution was created with distinct mandates, but collectively they form the backbone of the post-World War II international economic system. These institutions function not only as service providers offering financial assistance, technical expertise, and platforms for negotiation, but also as agents of governance, setting rules, enforcing compliance, and influencing national policies. Below is a detailed overview of each institution's function. In global governance, 2. World Trade Organization WTO. 1.1 Background and establishment. The WTO was established in 1995, replacing the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade GATT, which had functioned since 1948. While GATT focused primarily on reducing tariffs and trade barriers, the WTO expanded its scope to include services, intellectual property, and dispute settlement mechanisms. 1.2 Core functions in global governance. Trade negotiations. The WTO serves as a forum for trade negotiations among its member states. The goal is to create mutually beneficial agreements to reduce trade barriers and enhance global economic integration. Examples include the Uruguay Round and the ongoing, though stalled, Doha Development Round. B. Dispute Settlement Mechanism. The Dispute Settlement Body (DSB) of the WTO is a critical feature of global economic governance. It allows members to resolve trade disputes through a legalistic process rather than through unilateral retaliation, thus promoting rule-based order. C. Monitoring and transparency. The WTO monitors trade policies through its Trade Policy Review Mechanism (TPRM). This mechanism ensures transparency by examining members' trade policies and practices on a regular basis. D. Capacity building and technical assistance. The WTO offers technical assistance and training to developing countries to help them understand and implement WTO agreements. This is crucial for enabling participation in the global trade system. A. Global rulemaking. The WTO establishes the rules and norms that govern global trade, including principles like non-discrimination, most favored nation, and national treatment, reciprocity, and transparency. These principles help create a stable and predictable trading environment. 1.3 Role in global governance. By providing a rules-based structure for international trade, the WTO contributes to global governance by promoting peace and stability through trade integration, enhancing predictability and transparency in global trade, resolving disputes peacefully, leveling the playing field for developing nations. 2. International Monetary Fund (IMF). 2.1 Background and mandate. The IMF was founded in 1944 at the Bretton Woods Conference, alongside the World Bank, with the original goal of stabilizing exchange rates and facilitating international monetary cooperation. Over time, the IMF's role has evolved to include broader macroeconomic, surveillance, and financial assistance. 2.2 Core functions in global governance. Surveillance and monitoring. The IMF conducts regular surveillance of the global economy and national economies. Through its Article 4 consultations, the IMF evaluates countries' economic health and offers policy advice. It also publishes flagship reports like the World Economic Outlook and Global Financial Stability Report. B. Financial assistance. The IMF provides temporary financial assistance to countries facing balance of payments problems. This support helps stabilize economies and restore confidence in international markets. Key programs include Standby Arrangements, SBA, Extended Fund Facility, EFF, Poverty Reduction and Growth Trust, PRGT, for low-income countries. C. Capacity Development. The IMF delivers technical assistance and training in areas like public finance, monetary policy, and statistics. These programs enhance countries' institutional and governance capacity. E. Policy Coordination. As a global forum, the IMF fosters coordination of macroeconomic policies among member countries. Especially during global financial crises, it played a crucial role during the 2008 global financial crisis and the COVID-19 pandemic by offering emergency financing. 2.3 Role in global governance. The IMF supports global governance by enhancing international monetary stability, facilitating macroeconomic policy coordination, providing a financial safety net, offering data and analysis that inform global economic decision-making. 3. World Bank. 3.1 Background and structure. The World Bank was also established at Bretton Woods in 1944. It comprises two main institutions: International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, IBRD, International Development Association, IDA. Together, these institutions aim to reduce poverty and support development by providing financial and technical assistance. 3.2 Core functions in global governance. Development financing. The World Bank offers long-term loans and grants for development projects that promote economic growth and reduce poverty. This includes investment in infrastructure, roads, water, electricity, education, and health. Governance reforms. Climate resilience. B. Knowledge sharing and research. The World Bank is a major producer of economic and development research. Its World Development Report and databases, like the World Bank Open Data, provide critical insights for policymakers worldwide. C. Capacity building. The bank helps countries build the institutional and technical capacity needed to implement development policies, especially in fragile and conflict-affected regions. D. Partnerships and global initiatives. The World Bank works in partnership with other global actors, UN agencies, private sector, NGOs, on initiatives like climate change mitigation, gender equality, global health, COVID-19 vaccine financing through COVAX. 3.3 Role in global governance. The World Bank contributes to global governance by promoting sustainable development, supporting inclusive economic growth, leading global efforts on climate and health crises, acting as a knowledge broker and standard setter for development. 4. Comparative functions and interdependence. The WTO, IMF, and World Bank operate in complementary spheres. WTO governs trade, IMF oversees monetary and financial stability, World Bank promotes development and poverty alleviation. Their interdependence is evident during global crises. For instance, during the COVID-19 pandemic, the IMF provided emergency financing, the World Bank helped fund health systems, the WTO monitored trade flows for medical supplies. 5. Criticism and challenges. While these institutions are pillars of global governance, they face criticism. WTO stalled negotiations. Around power imbalance favoring developed countries, limited enforcement capacity, conditionality criticized as too harsh, especially in structural adjustment programs, voting power skewed toward wealthy nations, sovereignty concerns in economic policy recommendations, World Bank, environmental and social impacts of infrastructure projects, debt sustainability in developing nations, effectiveness of aid delivery and coordination. These challenges highlight the need for institutional reform, greater inclusiveness, and more adaptive governance structures to meet 21st century challenges like climate change, digital economy, and global inequality. Conclusion. Toward a cohesive global economic governance, the WTO, IMF, and World Bank play indispensable roles in global governance. by providing a rule-based framework for trade, monetary stability, and development finance. Despite distinct mandates, they share common goals: economic stability, poverty reduction, sustainable growth, cooperation over conflict. Together, they represent an evolving system of multilateral governance aimed at managing global interdependence as the world faces increasingly complex challenges, from pandemics to climate change and digital disruption. Their functions will need to adapt, ensuring that global governance remains effective, inclusive, and resilient.